Good evening everybody, my name's Fiona, this is Elio Moon Arts, and tonight we're going to be painting another dog. So I posted up one the other day on YouTube, a dog, and I thought we might do a small series of these dogs. I thought they'd be nicely grouped together to go up on a wall somewhere, so that's what I'm looking at. So tonight's project, you'll need a couple of brushes, an air blower, some isopropyl alcohol, some blending solution, and some inks. So tonight I've got Midnight, Sienna, and Honey. So we're going to do our lightest, actually we might do our background first. I never even thought about that. I might need another colour. We might get a purple for this background. Let me have a look. It's a ruby, no, grape. Grape will do it. So we're just going to change things up a little bit tonight. So this is a whimsical type of dog. So it's not meant to look like anything in particular. It's just a bit of whimsy, a bit of fun to play around with. Okay, so let's get started. So I've got some alcohol ink. This one's called Grape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not put it right on the edge, but I'm going to put it down around the edge here like so. And then I'm going to grab some blending solution and I'm going to put it along the edge as well. I'm just going to get my brush and I'm just going to brush that in a little bit just to mix that solution and the purple together. I'm just going to move it around a little bit. It's not going to do what I want, so I'll have to get the puffer out, which is perfectly fine. So basically we're just creating a muted background. I do not want this one to cover the whole page. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit gets on the dog, we'll cover that up later. So tonight we're just purely going to dry this off a bit. I might just grab my brush and bring in and do these edges up along here. I'll have to grab a bit of paper towel. Okay, I've got that. So a couple of other things that I've got in front of me tonight is a little palette. I've got my little trusty ramekins that I use, a bit of isopropyl alcohol to rinse my brushes in. Just like that, because I'm just going to push these little bits that have come over onto my dog off there, because I don't want them in there. And if you've watched any of my alcohol inking videos before, you'll know that what I'm currently doing is just a very damp brush. And yes, you can still see a little bit of that purple, but you won't notice it when we're finished. So I'm just purely putting a damp brush up against where it is, and I'm just pushing it back. Because alcohol ink likes to, when you put something on top of alcohol ink, it likes to move away from it. So isopropyl alcohol, and it's just moving away from the edge of my painting for me. So the isopropyl is actually doing a bit of my work for me. Okay, just bring that up along the edge there, where I do want it. I've got this darn brush again too. So we will want some of this to be quite dark. And it's probably not quite dark enough yet. That piece needs to go. That's in my dog's ear, in his fur. There we go, that can come out of there. The other bit can stay there. So basically I have drawn my dog with just a pencil. I think I used this one for this one. It was a Couture 0.7 uni drawing pencil. It's quite a nice pencil to use for drawing. Okay, so just letting this dry off a bit. I'm going to add a little bit more of this purple in here because I do want a little bit more depth of colour in there. And it's quite humid here tonight, so we are going to have a little bit of problems with the inks. When it's humid, the humidity in the air tends to play up a little bit with the inks and can make it a little harder for them to dry. But we've done this before, we can do it again. It's all good. Okay, I'm just bringing this in around the pieces on my football dog here. I'm just wanting it to go around the hair pieces that I've got in here. He looks like he's got a wig on, this dog. It's a bit whimsical. So this is part of a whimsical dog series that I'm doing. I think I'll end up having about 4 dogs in this series. And the reason I thought to do this is because some of my younger grandchildren, I think, might like this on their bedroom walls. So that was the object of it for me. And I'm just going to grab some more of that purple. Put the lid back on that blending solution. The other thing is too, we might have to switch over to using isopropyl alcohol. The reason being is that isopropyl alcohol will dry much quicker than the blending solution. Blending solution is fabulous, but it really doesn't dry as quickly as, still dries quick, but not as quickly as the as the isopropyl does. So I'm just bringing this up into these parts because I know I do want them a bit darker. Okay, let's put a little bit more on here. I'll use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol this time. Excuse my hand being in the way for the moment, I just had to get that angle. I'm going to tilt that up and away from him a little bit. And I do want that sort of loose feel in the background on this. And this one's starting to dry now. But see how this is drying here? That's purely because there's so much humidity in the room. Any bits that get in his hair we can take out as we go along. And we'll come around this side now. Okay, let's see how we go with this one. So I'm going to hold this corner, I'm going to grab it, I'm going to put some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol on here. And then I'm just going to give it a bit of a mix. Those colours mingling with that isopropyl really nicely. They can become friends. Just moving this around a little bit to where I know I want it. No, I don't want it in there. We're going to use a darker colour there, so it's not too bad. Okay, so now we're going to move this one around. That's better. Okay, so I'm just going to come back in here with a bit of isopropyl and just remove this bit out of here. don't want that purple on his leg at the moment. And you've got to be a little bit careful, I suppose, because some of these colours are a little bit staining. The only reason I'm not too worried about it is because I know that I'm going to be using some darker colours in some of these areas. Some of them there won't be darker colours. I'm going to use that, I've got colours Honey, Sienna and Midnight. The Honey I'm going to dilute down with what am I going to dilute it with? With some blending solution or isopropyl. Just to desaturate it a bit, because I want a lighter colour on my dog's body with the darker spots on him. That's the object of this one. So this one, like my last video, this one is also, sorry about that, got a couple of cats fighting outside at the moment. This was also a sewing, I believe, template for some quilting. That was a free image on Pinterest, so I've downloaded it, and I thought this would make a great picture for us to do. I'm just going to turn this around again now, and we're just going to do down the bottom of him. My husband just letting the dog out. I'd say it was my cat and one of the other neighbours' cats that was fighting. We've only been in this place a short amount of time, and we noticed a few weeks back that we'd heard them a few weeks back and they were fighting. Our cat come home with a few bit of ruffled fur and a little bit sore. The other cat had bitten his paw. And that's okay, it is what it is. I'm just going to put a little bit of darkness under here just to ground our puppy dog. Don't you get back in there, thank you very much. So this also helps to define our dog a little bit, so it makes it a little easier for you guys to see what I'm actually doing, because I noticed in my last video that until I actually had the background in fully, it was a little harder to define what it is you were looking at. So I'm trying to change that a bit on this in particular video. As I can see, it's gone a little bit too far. It's gone up into my dog's tail. And so I'm purely just using some isopropyl alcohol, to move it along and out of my way. And you still may need to put some more in there again, but I'll leave it for now. And we'll have a play with it a little bit later on in terms of getting. I just want to get it back far enough that I can start doing the other bits of this painting. So like I've said before, so what I'm currently doing is I've got alcohol on my brush and I'm wiping it onto the piece of paper towel I have beside me. So I only have it's just a damp brush, because if we add too much isopropyl alcohol or blending solution, it will run like it has here. And this happens, it happens. It's one of those. This medium is not one that's easily controlled, but you can get it to do what you want. You just have to be a little bit patient and a little bit sneaky about it. It doesn't like to always do what you want. But if you're patient, you should be able to get it. Okay. we go. So, what are we going to start with? We've got some black spots and we've got some brown ones. Okay, we might do here. I'm just going to take this purple out of his nose. So by doing this, it also creates just a little slight hard edge on the edge of his nose. And so when I put a darker colour in there, it should help for it not to go past it. It can go past it, but it's less likely to. Okay, so now I'm going to take some honey. I'm going to put 2 or 3 drops into my palette. Going to grab my blending solution. Now I'm wanting to put quite a bit of blending solution in this because I want to dilute the colour. Yep, that's good. So I'm wanting to make this dog, I might even have to blend a couple of colours together. So I've sort of got him as a sandy golden sort of a colour at the moment. Because of the type of dog this one is, it's sort of like, I don't know, it's got some patches on him that are different colours. He's got some black patches and he's got some brown patches. It's a little bit special, this fella. So I'm just wondering what happens if I add a drop of sienna to that. Would that be a darker or better colour? So see how that, where I'm putting that alcohol and ink on there now, how it's moving that purple out of its way. This is the nature of alcohol inks. It's actually what it does. So wherever it's put, if there's other alcohol there, it will actually move it out of its way. So whatever's on the bottom will get pushed aside for whatever goes on top, whether that be isopropyl alcohol, blending solution, or just another coloured alcohol ink. Okay, so let's get the tail. Actually, I do like this mixed with the bit of sienna in it. So it's not going to matter too much if I'm covering some of these other spots with this colour, because like we've just seen, this colour will get pushed out of the way by whatever colour I put on top of it. So I'm just working with this one a little bit at the moment. So I'm quite liking this. I liked it with the bit of sienna in it. I'm not worried about my lines. I've actually put my lines in a little darker than what I would if I was doing this just for myself, so that you guys could actually see it a little clearer. And as you can see, I'm not being very careful with how I'm painting it. I'm really just putting it in there and just letting it do its thing. So here I'm just letting it push that purple back a little bit. Push it back out of the way. And I'm just moving quite quickly with my brush to be able to get it to do what I want. I'll turn that back around this way. Sorry, I'm probably making you people all dizzy, but I can't always paint on the angle that this shows it to you in. And I'm just going to move that that line from the background just back a little bit. It's just come encroached in onto my puppy dog a little bit on his paws. And a couple of other things that I do try to do. So if I'm blending a colour and I'm wanting it to have a hard edge, so I'll push that ink, just flatten my brush out a bit and push it all the way over to that spot, and just make sure that that ink gets, as it dries, gets pushed into that spot to create that bit of a hard edge. So you can see how I've done that over the leg. And just pushing that purple back out a little bit. Bring that back over this one. So I'm just working on creating a little bit of a shadow underneath this paw here. And that's just with a damp brush and that colour that we've just created. See how it's a bit lighter on the top of his paw? I just put a little bit of alcohol on there. I don't want a lot of it on my brush, but I just want enough to lighten this paw off a little bit. By lightening the paw off, it'll help me to create a shadow underneath his paw better. And I'm painting in the direction that his paws are going too. That's another thing to help you with the form itself. So we've got another paw that sits on this line here. So this one over here. And you're only seeing a little bit of it where the paw curves over. So I want that to be a little darker. And now we come up into these little bits here. It's another bit of purple that's come over where it shouldn't be. That's okay, you can see. So I'm just going around his ears now. And what we might use a micron pen, or if you have some Couture Creations twin tipped alcohol ink markers, they would work perfectly for this. You could actually do this whole project with those if that's what you so desired to do. I'm yet to grab some of their markers, because I don't really use markers a lot, so I haven't felt the need to actually go and buy some, and I probably should. I probably should get at least a couple of them, especially a black one, for when I do projects like this that are more illustrative, and I can then use it for marking. So I've just pushed that purple back. I'm just using a bit of clear isopropyl on that. And then we'll go and make some more of our honey and sienna mix. So 3 drops of honey and 1 drop of sienna. And give that a bit of a mix. That's better. And so this brush doesn't have a great tip on it, and I'm still using it. I don't know why. I keep saying this to myself. But anyway, so I'm just darkening him up a bit. The other thing to remember, if you're wanting a smoother finish on your dog, if you have less alcohol, well, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can have less alcohol and ink on your brush. That will help. But what I tend to do is I normally have quite a dry brush, so there's not a lot of alcohol on my brush, and I just brush it in quite dry, so that, and it tends to smooth it out. So my brush is only just damp most of the time when I'm doing this. It's not really wet. That time it was, but I'm going into the centre here. So a little bit around your eyes here that need to be pushed up. And I'll try and smooth this one out a little bit just to show you what I'm talking about. So my brush doesn't have a lot of alcohol or ink on it at the moment. And I'm purely just, you won't get rid of all the lines. If you're looking to get rid of all the lines, you would have to probably use, I don't know how you would do that. I can't get anything totally smooth when I use alcohol inks, and I don't really want to either, because that is the nature of what they are, and I like to see that happening. So I've just got a very, very small amount of alcohol on this brush, and I'm just, you see how it's sort of moved it and smoothed it a little bit. I'm just going to grab a little bit more because I want to create a slightly harder line here. So I'm just going to take some of that out of there. Some of that out of there. And what I'm doing, I'm not actually taking it out, I'm just pushing it up just to give his you can see I'm taking it around in the shape of his mouth's going too. So it comes from the nose and scoops round, from the nose and scoops round. That's better. A little bit here. He's a pretty happy fellow, this little guy. Just going to bring that round here a little bit. Just creating a little bit of a hard line where that paw sits. That background. Okay, so dark around there. A little bit of shadow from his nose. I'm just putting a little bit on my brush and I'm just tapping it in and letting it do all the work for me. Okay, just to create a little bit of a shadow underneath his nose there. And then I'm just going to pull back from there with my it's only just got a little bit on it. It's next to nothing on there. And just pull it back. Okay, so there is the bulk of our dog done. Our next step will be, we might do the black piece. Oh no, we might go sienna. So the next piece we're actually going to use sienna, and I'm going to add, even though this got a little bit of that yellow in it, I'm just going to add a fair amount of the sienna. And so this is going to be on his leg. So this is one of the spots on his, one of the patches on his leg. Bring this around this side. Okay. Let's give it a slightly harder line there. Piece of coat back a little bit there. I've got a little bit that's come over into his leg. I'm just going to push that back. Now I'm just going to dip into the sienna mix that I have there. And I'm just going to dip it onto here wet, which will also create some texture marks on our piece. I think you'll find this is a pretty common practice with people who use alcohol inks, this tapping method. Just helps to put the ink down in a way that keeps it a little smoother. So this is another way that you can get it a little smoother. This will not be perfectly smooth. Apparently you can get it perfectly smooth. I'm yet to be able to master that. I can get it reasonably well done, but doing this will leave like texture marks on our dog's leg, and that's fine by me. So, and I've got a little piece on his tail that I want to be this brown as well. So I'm just going to bring that up here. A little bit down there. Okay, so there's his tail done. I'm going to do his ear. Now, when we do this ear, around this edge of our ear, I want it to be dark. And then the middle here, I want it to be a little lighter. So I'm going to start off by putting it in the middle and adding some alcohol to it and pushing it out to the centre. A little bit more alcohol on this. So now we're going to tap in around the base of this ear and up around the sides to create a slightly harder line along this edge, and so that it actually gives us a bit of light in the centre of his ear. And I don't want it to be overly noticeable. It's just a subtle change that I'm looking for. I'm just going to tighten up a couple of these lines by just taking my brush and running it across the edge here. That's better. So just on this edge here, I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. It needs to come up here as well, but got a little bit of shagginess going on up here, so it's a little bit. You're going to have to take your time with this section just to make sure you get inside these small crevices that we've got where the next colour comes in. Okay, a little bit happier with that now. See if I can get a little darker. Yes. So when I do my next piece, which is my absolute darkest colour that I'll be working with today, I'm going to have to be a little bit careful because our next colour is actually black. So whilst it will lift off like all the other colours, let's start down the bottom here, it also can overtake the other things that we've already put in, and we don't want to do that. So next colour, give it a bit of a shake first. So this one is Midnight. One of the things I love about any sort of black alcohol ink is its capacity to actually change colours. I've done a nude painting purely on a black. No other colour was put into it, and it's got shades of pinks and blues and greens. It's just amazing. So this fella's got a bit of a black spot on his bottom. Sorry about that. My alarm just kicked in. I'm hoping that I've turned it off properly now, otherwise we might get knocked off again. Okay, so we're nearly done with this bottom piece here. And now we're going to work on this one here. And like I said, these projects are a pretty easy project to do. I haven't been painting as much recently. I've been, I don't know, I've just been doing paper craft and just some other things for a change, but I'm really enjoying being back painting again and using my alcohol inks. It's one of my favourite, it's still one of my favourite things to do. Because alcohol ink is probably what I do predominantly. Okay. A bit rich. Okay, give me a few drops of alcohol. Yeah, that's better. It's starting to dry in my palette a little too much. I want to tap some of this into this area because I want this one to be quite dark. It's getting there, that's a bit darker now. A bit happier with that. So I'm just going to wipe it off my brush a bit. I'm just going to clean my brush off a little bit. I'm just going to smooth a couple of edges. I'll bring a bit of colour into a couple of edges where it's sort of gone a bit bumpy and lumpy. That's okay. Okay, now we're going to turn up this way. And we're going to do this. So I'm going to do all of my detailed edges first. Because this will be the hardest part to do. These ones over here not so hard. These ones here a little harder. It's all about having a small enough brush to do the job, and just being aware of how fast the colour will actually move. And sort of different colours will move at different rates. it's starting to look okay. Turning back around this way again. And I'm really sorry that I have to keep turning it around, but if I don't, I can't paint it properly. Because I do try to paint in the direction the fur needs to sort of go. And because of the nature of this, and I need to be a bit closer to it, I need to actually turn my page, otherwise my hand will be in the way the whole time, and that wouldn't be very good for you guys. Okay, bring that one up to a little bit of a point. Yes, please. This one, it's going to have a bit of a point on it. And then we come around. So now we can start dabbing in our colour. Still being a little bit careful around those areas that are a little tricky. And giving this dog his toupee, because that's what it looks like he's got on his head. Which I thought was a bit cute. So we're back doing that textury type dabbing at our paper with our black alcoholic. He looks at, he's a little bit of a handsome devil, this fella. I'm really happy with this one. It's really cute. Okay, so now we're going to give him an eye. And I'll put a bit of white in his eye shortly. Give him a nose. Might need just a little bit. Oh, that should be right. Let's give him a bit of a nose. Let's see how. I'm going to turn it up this way to get this one in. Yes, very cute. Okay. A couple of little details. I'm going to put a line in here for his toes. Same with this one. I might do the same with this here. So this is his part of his mouth. And now, around his nose here, I want to just give him some dots. Some little dots of black. Round them out a little bit if they've gone a little bit skewy and not stayed round. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I can see that I need to do. So one of them is I've got brown in here when in reality it actually needs to be purple. So where do we put our purple? So here's our grape here. So I'm going to put some of that into my little palette. And we're just going to tap some of that in there. And I am going to tap some of this purple around the edge, just to darken it up in a few spots. I do want it to be dark underneath his chin here, and down around his chest. Then I don't mind if it lightens up a little bit as we move further away from him. It's basically just to give me a shadowy type of look. Ooh. And we want another little bit under here. I do want to make sure that it's quite dark at the base here, mainly because where he's sitting there should be a shadow, and also it'll help to ground the picture. There is a little bit of this purple I'm going to wash off the page, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that, because I didn't want the whole page covered in this purple. I wanted to have areas of and I wanted it more textured across this bottom area. That's better. Okay. So he's got a little bit of ground there to sit on. I need to fix up around this tail here, because this part here will be a little bit darker as well. Let's just get it in the right spot first, and then we can tap some purple back in there. I do have to be a little bit careful when I get close to this black that I don't pull too much of it out of the painting, so that so I just don't want it to bleed too much. I suppose that's more what I'm saying. I don't want it to bleed into our purple. I'm just straightening up this line a little bit and smoothing it out a little bit. And so we need another piece in here which needs to be quite dark, because we have his shaggy hair sitting on top and we've got his shaggy ear. Also, they'll both cast a shadow, so we do want this bit to be quite dark. And I'm basically just using, it's probably a little sticky consistency of the grape colour. So it's been sitting there for a few minutes and I haven't added any alcohol or anything to it. I'll just let it dry out a little bit, and that'll give me this sort of really thick, sticky sort of an ink to use, which then just makes it a little easier to do some of the detail-y type work like this, because it's not going to run too much when it's at this consistency, but there will come a time where I'll have to stick some alcohol into it, whether it be blending solution or isopropyl, just to help it move better. And I'm getting to that spot about now. So let's just add a little bit of alcohol on here. Let's move some of this around. Let's adding a bit more alcohol into this piece here and just bringing the colour over. This is still that grape colour that we used earlier for our background. Okay, it's getting, it's nearly there. So I think what I'd like to do now is I would like to take some of this purple off. I still want it to be an organic-y type of look, but I'm just going to scrub the paper a little bit and then tip it off. I'm just going to mix it in here because I want it to still have I'm just going to grab my bit of paper and I'm going to dab at it. Because I don't want it totally off the paper, but what I want is a bit more white space around it. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. And I don't want that really hard line there if I can avoid it. Okay. That's okay. I'm going to take a little bit off this side as well. Okay, so now put a little bit of that on there, and I'm just going to make it look a little bit more organic. Like it'll still be on the page in certain spots, but not in others. Okay, we're just about there. So I'll put some more back in here. And I'll do a little bit on here. So let's just move this around a bit. Keeping those darker bits over there. These bits of shadow. But lightening up whatever doesn't need to be so dark. Okay, see how we go. That's better. I have to lay this flat for a moment. I'll just get my blower and just blow some of this around. So now you can see we've got this sort of much more softer and mottled look around the edges of our painting, and as that dries, that'll soften a bit more. And whilst it still has come out right to the edge, it's not like it was. I'm not really happy with this bit here, so, and I've just got to be a little bit careful. And I'm bringing that up around that dog's face and stuff. I just want it to be a little less contrived, I suppose is the word for it. And have it just looking a little bit more organic. Getting rid of that little line that's there. Just dipping the brush into it, bring it all the way up. So it goes into that alcohol we've got running down there at the moment. There we go. And this will be different every time, you know, you'll never get two pieces exactly the same, which is the beauty of working with alcohol inks. Oops. I'm still keeping that shadow in there, but I'm just knocking it back a little bit and blending it a little bit further. Just got a couple of little bits I'm going to have to work on. So I've dropped a couple of, not that it's, I don't actually really mind it. It's got a couple of spots on there where I've dropped a bit of alcohol ink on the major part of his body. But it sort of kind of doesn't really look that badly out of place. Okay, now we'll do our bottom end. So, where's our little palette? So I've got the Sienna here, so I'll just pop a bit of Sienna in that one. Just going to pop a couple of drops of honey, or just one drop of honey I think will be enough in this mix, and I'm just going to come back over those little spots there, and we're all nice and clear again. Okay, so that, my fine friends, is our little pooch for the minute. Actually I've got to straighten that one out again, don't I? So it's just some of this purple's come over into the bottom of the dog's mouth. So I'm just going to move it back to where it belongs. I'm not so worried about, and then I'm just going to grab our Sienna and honey mix and just straighten that up again. Okay, I don't know what we're going to call him. Harry. I'm going to grab a 005. No, it's too fine. A slightly thicker one. So I've got a micron pen here. I use these because they are archival. They don't, under normal circumstances, they don't run. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm just wanting to outline him, because this is like an illustrative type of piece. Knock that over. Down this bottom part, it's not so bad because we've got that really deep purple underneath, which is really quite nice. It has really grounded our puppy dog. Okay, bring it up around his tail here, and I'm just going to sharpen these where we've got these different colours coming in. I'm just sharpening up that a little bit. I mean, I could come around this one as well. Just come around the edge of it. Come around the edge of it. And just define it a bit more. You don't have to do this step. It's entirely up to yourself. Because I did it on my last one, I want to do it on this one as well, because I'm making a set of these for one of my grandchildren for his birthday to go on his bedroom wall. And we do have his leg that comes over like that. We have his paw that comes down like that. And like that. Make that mark around there. And the other thing that this does, it just sharpens our lines up a bit. It's going to put some around his eye. Come down and sharpen these ones up a little bit too. Just be careful that your ink is dry on your pen before you stick your hand in it. Don't do what I just did. Cut around this black one now. Oops. Let's come around the back of him as well. Okay, I think I'll just grab a little bit of white. Is this white pen going to work for me? Let's have a look. No, it's not. What about this one? Go and find another white pen. Give me a few seconds. Okay, let's see what I've got here. Be careful shaking those up with the lids off. Let's see if this one will work. It's got a little bit of a sparkle in his eye, this pocket dog. Now with that, I will also use a little bit of this micron pen just to go around those, just so that they are look, and you can fiddle with this as much as you like, but that is about as far as I am going to go with this one tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed it and you would like to subscribe, that would be wonderful. Every time you subscribe or you like my video or you leave a comment, it all helps my channel move forward a little bit. I was meant to bring something out in my last video that I forgot to do, so I'm going to bring it out in this one. Just let me grab it. So this is a journal that I have been working on, and I'm going to raffle this off once I reach 500 subscribers. So these are some of the things that are inside it that I've created. It's a little bookmark. It's actually got a little tag in it as well, so you can a journaling spot in it. Got some different papers, some pretty things, other pockets, another this one's another paper clip, lots of different pages to be able to journal on. Lots of bits and pieces for you to be able to create with in particular journal. Some interesting ideas. This one is a pocket that opens up and it's got a journaling spot inside it. This is just made with circles, and I've got some more roundish type embellishments on there. Another paper clip, a little notepad. It's a little decorative tag, hanging tag. Some pockets that we've created with some bits of ephemera in there. These were all hand painted by me. Okay, and what have we got in this last section? So I'm still filling this one up at the moment. And like I said, it's just got bits of ephemera throughout it. I've got this, this was actually made by a friend of mine. She was in a swap with me, and these are, she made me 3 of these, and this one just goes so nice on this page that I had to put it in there. So I put this beautiful green one, the green paper in the garden. It just looks lovely. We've got some other tags and journaling spots in here. Some more as a lace tag, so you can write on the back of it, and a little tuck spot. This one is a journaling spot, but it's also a paper clip. Oops. And so this was just made with circles, and I've left it plain so that you can use it, whoever wins this or whoever gets this, they will be able to decorate that in a style that they would like, rather than me doing it for you. Like I said, I'll add bits and pieces into here, but essentially I'm wanting you to use it for your own purposes. So this was just a bit of music paper and some scrap paper, so I've just made a little notepad that hangs over your folder. We've got another lace tag that you can write on, a journaling tag, and just another couple of tags. And then we've got this one at the back as well. This base was given to me by another friend, and same with this. I'm pretty sure she made this button too, but I added the green to it, and I made the little circle punch that I popped on the front of it. And this is just a little envelope that I created, which opens up, and it's got like bits of ephemera and little bits of goodies for you to play with in there. I'll pop that back in there. So lots of pretty things in this one, and like I said, I still haven't finished decorating it all yet. So once I'm finished doing it, well, once we reach 500 people on my channel, then we'll do a final look through of this in particular journal, and it'll be drawn out for all the new all the subscribers that are subscribed to my channel up until we reach 500. Then once we reach 500, I will actually we'll draw out a winner. What I might do is I might put everybody's name into a basket. I'll videotape that, and then I will get my husband to draw it out. So, and I'll have that videotaped so that you can see all that happening. But this is where it sits at the moment. This is the spine. It's just really pretty, this one. Anyway, I'm going to put that away. I'm going to say good night to you good people, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great time. Bye.